Hey, Mom Nation, what is up? Happy Tuesday. I hope you guys are having a great week. We are in February. Somehow it's already February 10th. And I don't know about you, but this year is already seeming to speed by for me. We're hitting the 10th of February. Usually I feel like January is so slow, but for some whatever reason this year, January just flew by. February is flying by. Before we know it, it will be spring again. And hopefully, you guys are enjoying. Most of you I know are in Phoenix. I come from northern Arizona. Currently, I'm in Mexico. And it is windy as heck here. I don't know if you guys are experiencing the wind in Arizona, but dang. So I apologize if you hear some background noise. That is my actual doors and windows rattling from the wind here. So anyway, we're going to talk about hormones today. I've been doing kind of a hormone series on all my platforms. We're talking about feedback loops. We're talking about stress. We're talking about energy levels. And we have been conditioned as women to kind of believe that we are at the mercy of our hormones. In some cases, that is kind of true. We can't adjust the fact that our hormones fluctuate way more than men's do, but we can understand them a bit better to get our body cues to really start to understand how our body is working and what messages and signals they are giving to us. And I tell my clients this very frequently, like everyone wants to believe that whatever's happening to them is a result of something else. So it's like, I can't lose body fat no matter what I do. Maybe it's my hormones. All of those things might be true, right? But the caveat here is understanding the fact that we have a lot more to do with our hormonal issues than we have been led to believe. And it's not our fault. We have been given a lot, like a lot of misinformation and really sales rhetoric to make us believe that we're broken when we are in fact not broken. We have control over a lot of these things. And that control might be going to your doctor, going to a functional nutritionist like myself, getting testing done, talking to somebody about hormone replacement therapy. Yeah, it can be that, and it can also be lifestyle. What I'm going to walk you through today is the stuff that you can start to work on with your lifestyle to help regulate and balance out. I don't love the term balance hormones because hormones can be upregulated or downregulated. We always want to think that they're high. Sometimes they're low. Sometimes they're suboptimal. Sometimes they're in normal range and that's still not optimal. So we're all over the map when it comes to hormones. And if you can start to understand what your body's giving. So let's say, for example, you are somebody who wants to lose 20 pounds and you keep losing the same 5-10 pounds over and over and over again. It's like this yo-yo loop. This is very common. Well, you have to start looking at what you're giving your body. Are you giving it yo-yo? Are you giving it punishment and restriction and then overindulgence? So let me give you an example. This is most women. So if you feel like I'm talking to you or about you, it's just because this is so common. So what might happen is during the week, we're really good. Monday through Thursday, we're so good. We're eating low calorie. Maybe we're eating low carb. We're going to get to that, like how that damages hormones in a second. We're eating clean. We're exercising. We're going on walks. And then the weekend comes and we just kind of shift to, well, I was good all week. I deserve some indulgence on the weekends. Maybe one of those weekend days you kind of overindulge and then you try to fix it by then cutting calories even further on Sunday or Monday. That is you giving your body mixed yo-yo signals. So your hormones are going to mimic that. They're going to mirror that. They're trying to protect you. So you're going to get yo-yo from your body. You're going to get, when the body feels safe and secure, you have some stableness, your weight starts to trend down, your inflammation starts to trend down, you have less bloating. Then you give it a variable like higher calories, which for me, higher calories is lesser of the issue than the swing. So we're talking about, you're eating 12 to 1500 calories on the weekdays, 3500 calories on the weekend, and you might think you're not, but that's the average caloric intake for most Americans that are not paying attention to their food, because we eat high fat and highly palatable foods that are very easy to consume. So we're often over consuming. So we're talking 3,500 calories, maybe Saturday, Sunday. And then on Monday, we restrict further. Maybe you're like, we're going to hit 1,200 calories. Your body goes from a 3,000, 3,500 calorie window to 1,200 calories. It's like, holy crap, there's famine happening. Food is not abundant. I am not safe. I'm going to hold on to everything. So that's where you're getting cortisol issues. That's where you're getting inflammatory response. That's where you're getting bloating. That's where you're getting gut health issues, because your gut isn't regulated. It's digesting a tiny amount of food. It's digesting a big amount of food. It's probably digesting more fats than fibers and carbohydrates, healthy carbohydrates and proteins. And so it just goes up and down, up and down, up and down over time. Your body's giving you what you're giving it. And if we start to look at it that way, we can start to fix it without having to rely on pharmaceuticals, without having to restrict ourselves to a place where we're miserable, without having to eat chicken and rice every day. Like those things that are just diet lies, that you can have a balanced lifestyle, lose body fat, have better energy, have balanced hormones, all of those things. But we have to start understanding the input versus the output. Okay. Another one is thyroid health. A lot of times, especially in our 30s, 40s, and 50s, thyroid starts to downregulate. A lot of that has to do with under consuming calories in general, and specifically under consuming carbohydrates. As women, our bodies rely on that energy source to have healthier hormones. So your thyroid will shift down. A lot of women who are chronic dieters in the keto realm, the low carb realm, experience things like Hashimoto's or thyroid issues later on in life and don't know why. And it's because we have put the thyroid into overdrive over and over and over again by depleting its energy sources. So happier thyroid, more healthy carbohydrates. And that doesn't mean that we want to balance out things like protein, fibers, and whole food carbs with some of the fun stuff too, chips, cakes, cookies, and that kind of thing. But what we're looking at there too is we're often, instead of consuming a lot of carbohydrates, we're actually consuming a lot of fat sources. Fat is really good for our hormones, but it is really bad for management of weight if the bulk of your food, the bulk of your intake is coming from high fat sources. You'll know that because oftentimes we're using whole eggs. Nothing wrong with them, but they're high fat. Cheese, nothing wrong with it. It's high fat. Those kinds of things as protein sources instead of using chicken or turkey or fish or shrimp. And not considering carbohydrates, broccoli and rice and berries and apples and sweet potatoes. Those things, when we're talking about carbs, that's what I mean. And we're talking about more fun foods. Yes, they fall into carbohydrates or fat realm, but if we are consuming a majority whole food, simple food, we are going to have healthier hormones. We're going to have better satiety. There's a lot of talk about GLP-1s. GLP-1 is a hormonal peptide that is produced naturally in the body. The supplementation of GLP-1 is doing for you what your body is not doing. And it's not because your body doesn't produce it naturally. It's because we're not utilizing the correct inputs. We're under consuming protein, we're under consuming fibers, and we're under consuming food in general. So under consuming food, and you have to think about this in a survival situation, right? Like our bodies are meant, there's one job they have, it's to keep us alive. They don't care if you're lean, they don't care if you're toned, they don't care if you're overweight. It wants you to stay alive. So it's going to do what it needs to do to keep you stable, to keep you alive. So all of the responses that we see, fat loss resistance, acne, sleep disturbances, energy shifts, mood swings, are often a message from the body saying, I'm not getting enough nutrients, I'm not getting enough rest, I'm overstimulated, I'm making too many decisions. And yeah, it's going to mess with your hormones. And there's more hormones than just sex hormones, thyroid hormones, hunger hormones. They have all kinds of hormones in our system that are all acting together. And if we are constantly depleting them, we're going into a state of famine. that if it were, we're talking about, caveman days, but our bodies don't know from that point of life to what we have progressed to at this point of life, that we have this abundance of food available. We can just go to the grocery store, go to a restaurant down the street. This is another reason why we tend to have a chronic obesity problem in this country and in the world in general, because food is so readily available. We don't understand nutrients. So instead of scarcity and being too thin and being emaciated, we're swinging the opposite direction. And that's still hormonal instability. So we need to start to understand that. We need to start fixing that. And we need to start understanding what our bodies actually need to keep that stable. So the big hormone disruptors I see in women, and yes, I do test for this, but I usually don't test first, because we got to make sure we're eating enough in general. That's calories, right? We need to make sure we're having enough protein, at least 100 grams a day, if not more, for women in general, all of you, and 25 to 30 grams of fiber. And if we're not at that baseline, your hormones are going to be kind of mad. They are going to be kind of angry. Another catalyst is muscle mass. If we're constantly under fueling, we're constantly under eating protein, and then we are overdoing cardio, even if you're working out, lifting weights in the gym, you're not seeing that tone muscle that you want. That is a response from under eating and being under muscled. If we don't have enough muscle mass, fat loss gets harder and insulin sensitivity changes. So you may become more insulin resistant. All of that can be fixed with proper weight training, proper fueling, proper protein intake, and understanding that you need to have some rest days, because yes, that's important too. Muscle is built at rest. It's torn down in the gym. It's built at rest. So we don't want to overtrain either. Women want to live on two swinging pendulums. We're overdoing it and then we burn ourselves out. We're overdoing it and then we burn ourselves out, right? And we all go through these cycles. I think it's because we have this fear mentality that we're going to regress, or if we don't push ourselves really, really hard, we're not going to get to the goal that we have. And I always tell people, like, the best results that I got were from me simplifying. No, you probably don't need to add more cardio. No, you probably don't need to eat less food. You need to stabilize the food that you are eating. Make sure that your food quality is on point. Make sure your nutrients are on point. And that's the problem. Everybody wants to say deficit these days. That's just a buzzword. I'm glad that we know that a calorie deficit is what is going to elicit fat loss. I'm glad that we know that. We're not guessing as much anymore. However, we're counting it as only one piece of the puzzle. And if we don't understand food quality, nutrient quality, overall like consumption quality, making sure you're eating enough, you are going to continue to struggle. And I'll give you an example. I've been talking to this lady in my DM. She's very, very nice, but she's so conditioned to under eating. And a couple of weeks ago, I ran a 7-day coaching trial. And she jumped in and did it, and she figured out her own macros in the 7-day trial. I don't really do macros in there. Just want to make sure that you're stable. I want to make sure you're eating enough. I want to make sure you're getting protein. I want to make sure you're getting fiber, all of those things. Because that, for me and for my clients and for anyone successful in this, is step one. We always want to go straight to the deficit. That's where you continue to make the mistake. Well, she figured it out. She's eating very, very low calorie, and she keeps checking in with me. And over time, I'm like, I cannot continue this process because it is in direct conflict with what's going to work long term, this hormonal stability. Even though she's seeing a result from the change in her nutrition in the direction she wants it to go, she wants the scale to go down. We're talking about a dangerous level of consumption that is going to backfire. And this is what I want you guys to understand, because if you pop into my DMs, if you do a free trial, if you jump into coaching, what my job is to make sure that you are not only getting closer to the body composition goal you want, but you're doing it in a healthy way that's going to keep you stable, lean, and healthy, energetic in the long term. Women deserve to have the bodies they want, but they also deserve to have the longevity in it, and stop grinding yourself into the ground every time you want to lose a few pounds. It just doesn't have to be that way. And I would argue that like those kinds of weight shifts are often going to risk muscle loss. Absolutely sure. Especially if you're exercising, you're eating, 12 to 1400 calories, you're exercising at the same time. Muscle mass is going down, metabolic stability is going down, hormonal depletion is happening. And yeah, you may see the scale start to drift down in the right direction. So you think it's working, but then it comes back, and that's where you gain the weight back and then some. Then you're constantly hungry. You don't look toned. You don't look lean. That is a hormonal issue, but it's caused by a lifestyle issue. So I've been trying to explain to her, and this is no slight on her. This is more like just the rhetoric of women's health and body composition change. And she's like, well, it's working. Why should I change it? And like, because you want longevity in it. You don't want disrupted hormones. You don't want bone density issues, and you don't want hormonal issues. And as soon as you start getting older, 50s, 60s, 70s, though, post-menopause, menopause, it becomes harder the less and less metabolic tissue you have. And as your hormones are naturally declining, it starts in the 40s, but we still have our cycles. We still have some hormonal things going on. And then in our 50s, as soon as our cycles end, estrogen is really low, progesterone is really low. Sometimes testosterone is completely tanked. Then it becomes even harder. And again, doesn't mean that you're not going to need some support through hormone replacement therapy or supplementation. And I've talked to you guys before about HRT. I'm on HRT. I'm a fan. I am going to always stand by what works best for women. But I also know that if you're just on HRT, you're going to, and not prioritizing these things, it's also going to throw your hormones off track. This is where we see huge inflammatory spikes, or like weight gain in the belly when we start to shift estrogen up and down. Those kinds of things are really important to understand. And yes, you can supplement hormones, but you can't supplement lifestyle. You can't just use hormones to undo not weight training, not eating enough protein, not eating enough fiber, and not eating enough in general. If we start to work on all of those things together as a whole, you are going to improve every aspect of your life as far as your energy levels, your sleep, the way that you're able to show up, because you can. And like, I understand where this can feel really hard and difficult, and I'm happy to give you some very short, small tweaks that you can make to your everyday life. But what I'm going to tell you is like, make it super easy. Go on ChatGPT or Google, whatever you prefer, and just ask for a fiber list, ask for a protein list. ChatGPT is better at this because you're going to get like a straight, like templated response, but ask it to like, put your groceries in that you eat every single week and tell it you want to eat 100 to 150 grams of protein a day and 25 to 30 grams of fiber a day, and have it plug that in and give you an output. Make sure you're eating enough calories. If you need help understanding how many calories you need for your goal, just reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help you calculate that, always for free. I don't mind doing that in DMs. If you need more than that, that's when we enter a coaching container. But just giving you an idea of starting calories is going to give you a jumping off place that's sustainable long-term, good for your hormones, good for your sleep, good for your thyroid, good for your gut health, all of those things that we struggle with as women, especially as we get into middle age years. So, ladies, if you need help with hormones, please reach out to me. I'm always happy to help you troubleshoot. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope you're having a great day. Please send good vibes that the wind goes away. We are going out of town tomorrow. We have a dog sitter coming. The weather has been so beautiful. And of course, today it's a disaster. I swear people come visit us and think that it's just always crazy down here. But yesterday was perfectly calm and warm and sunny, and today it's windy and cold. So anyway, not complaining. We're living in paradise. We're living our best lives. But anyway, protein, fiber, eating enough calories. Let me know if you need help with your calorie goal. Look up some protein and fiber sources, get it in, add it to your meals every day. We need to have 3 meals and 1 snack. Stop skipping meals, ladies. That's another catalyst to hormonal shifts when we're skipping lunch or not having breakfast or just having coffee. all of those things over time, you're not going to feel it after one time, but years, chronic meal skipping is going to affect your hormones, going to affect your mood, going to affect your sleep, and going to absolutely affect your body composition. And we can do this in a way that is simple, sustainable, and works with a family unit so you don't feel overwhelmed by it. Just let me know what questions you have. I hope you're having a good day, and I will see you back here next week.
Struggling to feel your best? When energy is low and nothing seems to work, it's time for a new approach. Here's someone who guides real people to real, lasting wellness. Meet Erin McDonald, certified master health coach, nutrition coach, and NASM personal trainer. Helping you create simple, lasting routines that support a healthier, more energized you. Feel better, move better, live better. Because health isn't just a goal, it's a lifestyle you deserve. Take the first step toward feeling your best. Your future self will thank you. Connect with Erin today.